Welcome to the ClusterF. This is the real spiritual journey. No fluff, no bypassing, pure honesty. This world is a total clusterfuck. Every Sunday, we're going to embrace the cluster and attempt to unfuck it. And we attempt to unfuck it, not to perfect the world, but to better understand who we are and what the truth is. When we can sit back, observe, discuss, and analyze this giant clusterfuck, perhaps we can better understand ourselves and come up with simple solutions. Visit the website at theclusterfuck.com for links to all of the streaming and podcast platforms and social media. Now let's get ready to unfuck the cluster. All right, everybody. Welcome back. The clusterfuck has really hit the fan today. I was not planning to do a stream, but I thought this might be the last time I get to do an impromptu stream for a while. I got a new job, so I'll be working part-time, so I'll have a little less time during the week to sort out this clusterfuck. And I thought today's the day because some clusterfuck shit has happened. Or allegations. I'm going to call it allegations. Everything's an allegation here. And of course, before we get into talking about today's topic, I'm going to remind you all these politicians are actors. They all have, a script, a route that they're coming at, and we might not fully understand the bigger picture. And if you guys have the bigger picture or you guys have ideas, please put them in the chat because we have some crazy topics to talk about today. One is that there is these allegations on X saying that there's going to be some rogue FBIs, they're also rogue, and they're going to drop some files on Trump. There's also allegation by Senator Tim Lieu, about Donald Trump and what's in the stuff on him. We're also going to show a David Icke video that tells you exactly how the elites are running the system. It really goes into the money and how it's done, just in case for people who don't understand this fiat currency and all this crazy stuff and loans. Get into NPCs. Might mention a little Israel in TikTok. We're also going to cover a thing called JeffTube that's out there, and I'm going to show you a site also called Iran Monitor, and then we'll kind of tie it up. We got a few clips and videos, and just hopefully things are looking dire. I was listening earlier, Thomas Massey was talking, I think I caught it on Jimmy Dore, but Thomas Massey is really worried about the future of America, that it's going to collapse and become third world because it just can't handle all this debt and this craziness. And as you know, in the last show, we talked about Peter Thiel, and he's a major factor at this, but he's also out in the public. So there's obviously someone behind Peter Thiel that's going on in this stuff. And it's clearly, I've said this before, the elites are struggling as well against each other. There's going to be a cleaning of house happening. And observe, don't absorb. All we can do at this point is sit back and watch these elites take each other out. And hopefully we don't bear a mass casualty. The ball is rolling so far in chaos up at the top of the pyramid that there isn't much we can do, because there's infighting, there's warring, there's, character acting going on. There is all sorts of insanity. And there's also this declaration that Bibi will nuke Iran. He doesn't care if Trump says no, because Trump has said no, right now we're not doing war with Iran. He's going to do it anyways. And that will, regardless, affect Trump's administration. It'll knock him off. So, yeah, just a lot of stuff to think about. So remember, before we get into all this topics and we go into X and all the sites that I've got laid up today, remember to thumbs up, because the more you thumbs up, the sooner you do it, the more you do it in the commentary, the better this place is. So give the show a thumbs up. You can subscribe on YouTube where we're streaming. We're also streaming live on Kick. We're streaming live on Twitch. We are also streaming live on Substack, which you can go and subscribe to. Tons of free articles there. That is clusterfuck.substack.com. The website is theclusterfuck.com. And the email, if you want to contact me or give me information or send me any of your ideas or tips or information or invite me on your podcast, or you want to come on a Sunday, you can just email me at melissadharris77@gmail.com. There, we got that stuff out of the way. Who is in the room? We got a few of you in. I don't want to start too soon. I want to give people Paul from Newcastle. Of course, England's always tied into all of this. We got Incognito. We got Jonacide. We got a few other of you, but we got a few comments in the chat. Fantastic. Yes, it's been a clusterfuck for me too. Our washer and dryer broke. I totally hid it from my husband just so he wouldn't be stressed out at work, but then I told him about it and I had to go and do laundry, which, you know what? I'm fine. I don't know if I told you guys, when I was really young, I managed and ran commercial laundry where we did deliveries and lottery and Purelator and commercial stuff. So I could fold laundry in my sleep. That's why I tell people, hey, just do mundane things. It'll help you sort out your thoughts. So maybe it was good that I was standing there at a laundromat folding and just focusing on one task. It really helps you clear out the anxiety and the clutter. So you just have that moment of focus. So good for you. I did it. Might have to do it a few more times. I don't know when we'll get a new machine. We'll see what's up with it. But yeah, it's been clustery, and doing all the onboarding and all the stuff for a new company, training next week. I actually used to work for this company before, so it's like coming home. All right, so we got a few of you coming in. Hopefully a few of you more will come in. We're going to pop into the screens and we're going to get into this stuff, because I wasn't expecting this stuff at all. At all. So what we have here is a clusterfuck. This is from Patrick Emek. I don't know how we'll go through this. We have other people claiming this as well. Kim.com retweeted this stuff. So we're going to go through this. And then we got some stuff from Ted Lieu. And then we got JeffTube. Very disturbing. Someone has created a copy of YouTube called JeffTube, where I'm actually going to put I'm going to put the link to it so you guys can check it out. And it's literally uploaded all the videos that we have from the drops of the Epstein files into a place where you can go observe and search through for journalists to access. I haven't gone through it but we will kind of take a browse at it. I don't know what's on there, but we're going to see. But I put the link to that in the chat for you guys who are joining live. You can check it out if you'd like. If you don't want to get absorbed in it, I totally understand. This is not for everyone. So Patrick Emek says, speculation. FBI Director Comey made President Trump aware of existence of such compromising data and offered to assist. Regarded this as a threat to his authority after Comey flat refused to swear on an oath of personal loyalty and fired him. Someone said, bombshell, we're going to watch this video. Ted Lieu says the full unreleased Epstein files show Trump RAP, you know what, children. That's what's being hidden. That's why the files are staying sealed. That's why there are no arrests. Released everything. Let the truth come out or resign. Of course, the truth is, of course, that both sides are on this list. I mean, we know that. Like both sides are on this. It's not just, one side. I'm going to find the other one. Crypto Rover also shared it. Crypto Rover says, breaking, because Trump keeps calling the Epstein files a hoax, several FBI agents are reportedly planning to leak censored material featuring him, reasoning that you can't be prosecuted for leaking a hoax. I have no idea if that is true. Couldn't tell you at all if that is true. I think Kim.com has kind of added something about it. So, apparently North Korea is going to provide military support to Iran. There's this thing going on. We talked about this yesterday with Palantir thinks that within a year of providing some kind of crazy weaponry to Ukraine to take out Russia, they're also trying to take out Iran. This is World War II plotting. This is, I mean, I would assume that we are right in it. Someone said, going to war with Iran because our president is on the Epstein list is absolutely wild. Okay. So let's listen to this video of Ted Lieu. Now, remember, he's a Democrat. He hates Trump. I will give you that. But I don't think those files show just Trump doing anything. I think those files, and this is allegedly, we cannot say that Trump's doing that. I think those files show a lot of people doing stuff. And then once we discuss this, we'll get into like who would benefit, who would want this out there. You know, when we have people like Peter Thiel being such chess players, is he behind this? What's going on? And you guys can give your sentiments about it or feelings. Like, do you get a vibe of something that's happening with certain actors that I'm missing? Because that's possible. So let's go in to see what Ted Lieu has to say.
So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press to go look at these allegations. And I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now, who were girls at the time, who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to a minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all those reasons, he's just got to leave the Department of Justice.
Okay. So that is Tim Lieu, coming against the guy that's in the Department of Justice. It's like it's clearly corrupted. And a lot of people are saying, hey, how come Biden didn't do or release things? Well, it was locked. He couldn't. It wasn't able to be released. It was a judge ordered that it wasn't to be released. Could he have pressed it? Yeah, I suppose he could have. I don't know whose strategy this in. I mean, we can come up with multiple people who may benefit from this or may want Trump out of office. Bibi, Hillary, Billary, Peter Thiel. Maybe Peter Thiel wants to roll JD Vance in, but this would seem like a really bad way to do it. Like this looks to me a little bad for Peter Thiel. Now, maybe people above them want to now bring the Democrats in to do something else. I don't know. But remember, the Democrats were in when Ukraine went in. The Democrats were in when, October 7th happened. They've been pushing this as well. They're not innocent. And oftentimes what the system does is because they control both hands, both sides, they get them to play different roles to roll in exactly what it is that they want to do. So they'll have the Trump roll in this kind of crazy, and then they'll get the Democrats to do other different wars or roll in other different policies. It's like to trick you, to make you think there's all these different options or people fighting for you when they're actually rolling things out for the system above. For instance, when the Democrats mass let immigration in and create this chaos, that riles people up. It creates the chaos that they want. It creates cheap labor. It then gets people angry. They're calling for law and order. Then you bring someone like Donald Trump in, and he can just come in with ICE, and then they present digital ID and all this other stuff that will control us more, saying this is the solution, we can keep you safe. Like that's kind of the way that they do it. So we can't just be like, oh, Ted Lieu is here to save us. But although it seems like now the strategy is to weaponize the Epstein files, when I'm pretty sure all of these people knew it was on them all along. And that most of DC is either in there or they're in something else. Remember when WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, released a whole bunch of files originally, he said like 98% of DC is wicked and evil. Like they'll fall if people see this. And so is the purpose now to have DC fall? Is there some other power center that people above everything wants in charge? I mean, these are questions that are good to ask. Not that I'm not promoting that we let them get away with this, but I doubt even through all this chaos that we're going to see anyone really arrested. They might have a few fall people, but are we really going to see anyone arrested? And many of you will come out and say, well, Donald Trump called the police on Jeffrey Epstein. He's innocent. Donald Trump, after decades of enduring and doing things with Jeffrey Epstein, called the police only after everything became public and he was going through trial and they were coming for him. Then Donald Trump basically threw him under the bus and called the police. Why didn't Donald Trump do this over the decades that he knew that Jeffrey Epstein was doing this? He just decided no, just to let people get harmed forever. Right? So you can see how mega hardcores are really they're really, what's the word for it? They're gaslighting themselves. They're really doing some mental gymnastics trying to keep their dear leader as immaculate and about the people. And there's nothing he's really done that's about the people, but then there's nothing any of these guys at any side has done that was for the people. Now, this is, to me, weaponizing it. It has to be dealt with, but I doubt it will be dealt with in the way that we would like to. So there could be all sorts of outcomes from this that people who are in power want. They could clear out a bunch of other people in power. I see the future as corporations going after each other and just, cannibalizing each other to get the goods, to get the resources. So it's not just about them using us, which certainly they're going to be doing spiritually. They're going to tap into us forever. This is what Palantir wants. We'll talk about that at the very end with a little Sauron reference, but it's also them going after each other to become the one eye that rules them all. Like really crazy shit here that is, I don't really have the full words for, because it's so deceptive. So multiple people could be at this. Like Bibi, he has a, a fulfillment to do. He is all about Bibi, right? He has a religious fulfillment. Like he really does believe that he's to bring about the Messiah. And I've said this multiple times on multiple different streams, that this man has this complex that he is the one to bring about the Messiah. Peter Thiel has some kind of, I'm warning you about the Antichrist because I am the Antichrist. Like they have these weird fantasies about being absolute supreme rulers, and they hide it under doing good for the world. And it's so bizarre. This is from Kim.com. He's saying Netanyahu may use nuclear weapons against Iran and betray Trump. Israel will get blamed, but it would be the end of the Trump presidency this year. Netanyahu believes that he's one step closer to his prophecy. And this guy is calling Muslims religious fanatics. I will tell you, the people that are in charge in Israel are extreme right-wing fanatics. And on TikTok now, I don't know if I said this to you guys, the guy who's running TikTok is saying that if you say anything against the Zios, they consider that hate speech. And Zionism isn't a religion. Zionism isn't just made up of Jewish people either. Zionism is a political movement that's been around for 100, 200 years at least, moving towards this point of taking over all the world with this crazy, I guess you could call it satanic cult or whatever you want to talk about. It has nothing to do with a religion or a group of people. It's a political movement. So they're saying if you criticize a political movement, you are doing hate speech. You are hateful. Even though they're mass slaughtering and murdering people and making mass weapons of war, they want to nuke other countries, take over their resources. But we're the hateful ones, even though they have all the power, all the weapons, everything. We're the hateful ones. And now we know most of that oil from Venezuela is going over to Israel. That is why they wanted to get in there. They're literally providing oil for Israel. It has nothing to do with drugs or fentanyl. They don't give a shit if your kid dies of fentanyl. Top Goy. There's Palantir saying that they know that they do killing machines. And of course, Palantir is full on acknowledging and has said that they want to control everything. They want to control all your digital ID, your access, your everything. They will monitor the web, monitor everything, every move you make. I mean, they just passed in Congress. Remember, they passed, Democrats and Republicans together passed the kill switch thing so that they could put kill switches in our cars. Does that sound like a party that's working on your behalf, the Democrats? No. Do they sound like they care? No, but they voted to have this kill switch thing. So I have a feeling we're going to have people learning more and more to be hackers. Well, that's going to be the war. Hello, Kirby. Welcome to the show. Thanks for showing up. We're going to have to get a vampire show soon. 100%. It is so bizarre and so confusing, but there is someone sitting there silently moving the strings. I mean, David Icke talks about this. We'll get into the money system. Everything is fake. We all live in a surreality, and we have to actually understand the goals of the elites. This drama about this stuff, yeah, we the trafficking is one thing that they do, but they're also creating a false money system. And the video we're going to go through in a minute is going to tell you what that is about. But first, let's have a boo at JeffTube. I'm going to show you this. If you want to go investigate, if you have a channel yourself, or you're just interested, you can go ahead. But it exists. It is called Jeffrey Epstein. He's got his own platform. It is called jmail.world/JeffTube. or I think it's JeffTube.net as well is the other one. So you check it out. They've got it on their I don't know how long this will be up for, by the way, but it is full of videos. This one is Deepak Chopra talking to a child in front of director's chair. Creepy ad. Minion video set to Epstein. Let's check. Oh, I don't want to get copyrighted for watching the Minions. Jeffrey Epstein chasing young people in the kitchen, seemfully playful. Jeffrey Epstein's strange mark on his face. Ew. Jeffrey Epstein's face up close. I don't know who that is. But there's all the videos. Steven Pinker, another one who was on the jet. There's Steven Pinker, Stephen Hawkins, Richard Dawkins. There's a whole bunch of intellectuals. Noam Chomsky. How is the island? Here we got.
Happy New Year. For me, this year, no goals, no plans, no lists, no regrets, no anticipation, no resistance. Being is enough. Or should I say, being in love is enough.
What a creeper.
A love that radiates.
Okay, so that was our favorite guru there, Deepak Chopra. Let's see. This one looks crazy. Okay, that was just 1 second. That's obviously a child sitting with somebody on a couch, and is that Reid Hoffman? I don't know who that is. Yeah, creepy. You can go on this and access everything. This is somebody with a blow-up doll. Okay, a little bit risque. We got another video here. That looks like a very young girl in that video. They've redacted her face, which is good. I don't know. This looks like a TV show or something. I don't know what that's about. Looks like, yeah, we won't go there. We'll keep going. Yeah, it's just tons of video footage that was in this files. It's been compiled here. And so you can go and look at it. I don't think it's anything too explicit. And a lot of the faces are redacted, but there it is. And of course, Ted Lieu is saying there's video footage of Trump and probably others doing the crimes, the actual sexual crimes. So if that's true, I doubt they'll ever let us see it. Pam Bondi is going to make sure it doesn't come to light, but they're saying that there's FBI agents who may leak this as a weapon. As a weapon. Let's see, like there's like over 1,000 videos on here. That is for resources for you to check out. I don't know who this lady is.
You know the difference between a divorce and a circumcision? With a divorce, you get rid of the whole schmuck.
She's so lovely. Doesn't she look loving? She's in there a few times. There's a few videos of her. Some of these may mean nothing. Some of these may mean everything. But I can tell you, because this is one she's redacted. They're just 1 second clips, a lot of them. It's got more video clips. I don't know. This one is of a fetus on an ultrasound. I have no idea why that would be in Jeffrey Epstein's. Yana Bogomolova Women's Health Partnership. It's like a 3D ultrasound scan. I don't know what that's about. It is just bizarre. but a good resource to, if you actually, because a lot of times, especially people who are pro-Trump, they're going to take a spin on it. They lie about this stuff all the time. That's why Ian Carroll has Web coming out where you can go through all the documents, and this guy has this coming out. So people who want to do real journalism can actually go and look at the source and say, you know, that made me feel kind of uncomfortable. What's this guy doing here? Oh my God. Who? Does anybody know? Whoa, I was not expecting that. Wow, that is bizarre. Whew, someone's got some weird, creepy fetishes. I don't know if anybody recognized that guy. I didn't recognize him. Ugh. God, I feel like throwing up now. So that's JeffTube. So we gotta, after that, I gotta stop. And there's worse, you know, if Donald Trump is in there and they do have stuff, they need to come out with it. We don't actually need to see the video footage, but some kind of hearing, someone has to be able to ascertain this stuff. They don't have to give it to the public, because I think a lot of this stuff I don't want to see, but I want to know something's being done about it, of course. But I don't necessarily have faith. My guess is they won't do anything about it. They're just using this to, you know, manipulate the midterms. That's my guess, which, I mean, really honestly, if that's all the propaganda and everything that you know, BB is doing or Mossad has, and, you know, they're just like, we're not happy with Trump, we have to get him out. Well, so be it. You know, when you hang out with the people at the top, nobody's your friend, and there ain't nothing we can do about that. There ain't nothing we can do about that. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that someone's going to leak some more stuff? Because this could get crazy. There are several people saying it. It could be lies. Donald Trump is like, nah, not going to happen. Gabriel says, why would they release unredacted victim's name initially? Is that really just for intimidation, mafia style, to set an example? It might be. John says, it's BS that other countries have made arrests, but the USA hasn't. And I think what they might do is do some example arrests to make it look like they're doing something, but they're not gonna, it's not like they're gonna clear everyone out. But arrests need to be made 100%. This is disturbing. And if the FBI does do it, it's hard to say because it's so clusterfuck. I mean, we had the FBI, you know, raid Trump's Mar-a-Lago on behalf of Biden, was at a show, and then he gets in and now they're on his side. I'm sure he'll use this to say that they're victimizing him. It's a lie. It's hard to understand what thought process is going on behind the scene. Besides that, the Epstein files is clearly something that's going to bring down the House. Now, I don't want to just see files on Trump. I want to see files if there's Democrats in them. I want to see them. If there's major technocrats that are Democrats in there, I don't want to see the files. I want them to come to light and them to face consequences. This isn't about Republican versus Democrats, because look, Bill Clinton's in there and he's a Democrat. So yeah, I'm not just all on like, hey, let's just get him. But some people are trying to say Trump's going to be impeached. This is about impeaching him. Could happen, but you know, they could. I think what they're going, if they do something, what they'll try to do is they'll try to win out in the midterms and then impeach him so they can get the votes. And it's such a disaster because of all these wars that Bibi Netanyahu wants to happen. So Trump said, did I just hear I'm being impeached by John James? Is he a congressman? Like, Trump is, I think Trump's just out of touch. I don't think Trump really understands how pissed people are about these files.
Some guy that I'd never heard of. John James, is he a congressman, this guy? He said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start the impeachment of Donald Trump. What the hell did I do? Here we go again. They want to impeach me.
That's from last year.
This lunatic.
That's from last year, and as you can see, Trump is totally just calls everyone a lunatic. Okay, so let's go into this one.
Republican Senator Pat Toomey just called on President Trump to resign, saying it's what's best for the country.
Breaking news, a second GOP senator is now calling on President Trump to resign following Wednesday's deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol. This coming just one day before what could be the start of his second impeachment. Eyewitness News reporter Leticia Juarez live from home with the breaking details.
That just looks kind of like it was from his first term. Now, another thing that just happened was they just had the hearing with, what's his name? They just had the hearing with Les Wexner, and apparently it was by the House Oversight Committee. And not a single Republican apparently showed up to the deposition today. And apparently the DOJ hasn't questioned him on anything. It's pretty suspicious. Let's type in Lex Wexner. Because he just had a deposition. Let me get my words right. Has not been questioned by the DOJ on Epstein. Let's check this.
The Wonder Oven Pro is an 8-in-1
I hate it when they do that, but I don't want to pay them money.
For being here. My name is Robert Garcia. I am the ranking member, the lead Democrat on the Oversight Committee, and I'm here with many of our colleagues from the Oversight Committee. We're all going to make some brief remarks. I'll introduce them all, and then I'll open it up for a couple questions. And then our deposition is continuing, so we've got to continue that throughout the day. So let me just first of all give a couple overview. So we are right now in the middle of a deposition of Mr. Les Wexner. We are doing the deposition at his estate here. Right now, we are now about 2 hours into that deposition. We are on a break, and we will be going back into the deposition for the rest of the afternoon. So to be very clear, I will be providing an update now, but there are many, many questions that we have to ask of Mr. Wexner that are important to our investigation. So that questioning will happen throughout the day as this day moves forward. We're here because we want to talk to anyone that has information about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's crime, abuse, and trafficking of women and girls. There is no single person that was more involved in providing Jeffrey Epstein with the financial support to commit his crimes than Les Wexner. That is already, as we all know, in the public record. We've also directly heard from survivors about Mr. Wexner, about his involvement, and their concerns as to the enormous amount of money that was essentially transferred over and paid to by Mr. Epstein. To be very clear, we know of approximately over $1 billion, it looks like. It's about $1 billion that was either transferred, provided in stocks, or given directly to Mr. Epstein by Wexner. Now, it's important to note that Mr. Wexner appears to be unaware of much of the money, as he claims, that was given over to Mr. Epstein. In fact,
do you guys believe that Les Wexner is unaware of $1 billion being transferred? Do you believe that? Like, oh, I just didn't know $1 billion. What? Pocket change? I highly doubt that.
it's interesting.
Now, what do we have to say? So, the releases from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation files have brought new details to light regarding Les Wexner's relationship. They're calling him a co-conspirator label. A previously redacted 2019 FBI document has identified Wexner as a co-conspirator. Through federal prosecutors later clarified he was viewed only as a source of information, but originally he was a co-conspirator. Now they're trying to say he's not. Gang stuff, newly unsealed notes, and a draft letter from Epstein claimed that they had 2 gang stuff for over 15 years, whatever that means. They dismissed it as delusional. Congressional investigators have identified over $1 billion, as you just heard there, that went from Wexner to Epstein in either provided in stocks. While Wexner long claimed he cut ties in 2007, the DOJ records reveal a June 2008 email from Wexner expressing sympathy to Epstein after his Florida plea deal, telling him to be careful. Modeling scams. Files include grand jury testimony where women allege Epstein used his ties to Victoria's Secrets, that's what he's tied to coerce them into modeling interviews that led to sexual assault. So a lot of these people are using their modeling agencies to get girls to be trafficked. And they do it to boys too. They do it to male models as well. So this is where Les Wexner is coming in. And during his February 18th, 2026 testimony today, deposition, Wexner testified he was duped by a world-class conman. Bullshit. Bullshit. He had no knowledge of Epstein's crime. Bullshit. Democratic lawmakers, however, expressed skepticism towards his testimony, calling his denials not credible. So, as you know, Les Wexner was the former CEO of Victoria's Secret's lingerie brand, and he's accused of stealing vast sums of money, but he's also accused of helping them traffic them. And as you know, Donald Trump ran pageant, so that might be how he was doing it, or through Mar-a-Lago. They're these men who are literally using their companies to get so many people in, it gets confusing, and then they groom and traffic these people, and Lord knows how they get the children, through immigration, through people having babies. Incognito says it's all of them, and they should all be held accountable. Jonathan says wood chipper on slow feet first. Yeah, when we love that. So we'll listen to this for a little bit more.
Interesting that Mr. Wexner has already begun to clarify in his mind that somehow he and Mr. Epstein weren't even friends. We should be very clear that the two were very close, purporting. They spent a lot of time together. Mr. Wexner admitted that he traveled to both Epstein's island as well as his other properties. Mr. Wexner also admitted that Jeffrey Epstein had access to a lot of Mr. Wexner's wealth. And when asked even simple questions, even as it relates to Mr. Epstein being the co-president of the foundation that established the area that we're in today, Mr. Wexner had little to say. In fact, it's clear that Mr. Wexner is trying to downplay how close Jeffrey Epstein and Mr. Wexner actually were. And we should be very clear that there would be no Epstein Island, there would be no Epstein plane, there would be no money to traffic women and girls. Mr. Epstein would not be the wealthy man he was without the support of Les Wexner. I think it's very important for us to note at this moment. There's a
So far, sorry, I was on mute there. We definitely have huge ties to Les Wexner. I can't find any ties between Donald Trump and Les Wexner, but there's definitely ties between Donald Trump and Epstein. So Epstein could have all these associates that he's getting to help him fund this stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean they know each other closely. It means that Epstein is some kind of an insane con man, but he's not the first, and he won't be the last if we don't stand up for this stuff at all. Now, clusterfuck. Don't absorb it, Melissa. Don't absorb it. It's a crazy thing because there are stuff in these files, reportedly, allegedly, where children's teeth were removed to stop them from biting. The only thing they could do to defend themselves. These adult monsters torturing these children, and the children would bite them. And so they just removed their teeth. I can't even believe that I have to say shit like that. But that is the truth. That is what's been reported. And there's no way around it that this is that those other half of the files that we don't have access to probably have the most horrible stuff. I mean, we're finding horrible enough stuff, and people are coming up with very clever ideas so you can sort through it fast and get access to the information. But we are seeing some pretty treacherous stuff here, and there's more depositions happening. Apparently, none of the Republicans came to this one for Les Wexner. I think there's some Republicans who don't want to be, they're in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble. Republicans showed up to the Pam Bondi one, and she's going to keep covering. She's been covering all along. It is just absolutely amazing. So we're going to kind of leave this land here. I'm trying to think of why Peter Thiel would want something like this. Like, I guess Peter Thiel can't control everything, and the people that frame, I don't know who his boss is or who's above him, but this would not look good. Do you notice JD Vance has been very quiet lately and off the scene? Peter Thiel has put a lot of money in JD Vance, a lot of grooming to make him his president that does what he wants. And I'm trying to see it from an angle because Palantir is in with Israel. They're also in Ukraine. They've got all these contract deals. So maybe it doesn't matter if Trump is gone to them. They've got the deals. They're locking it in anyways. Trump's just, a nothing to them. And so if he's gone, maybe they figure they'll get a Democrat in, or they'll get a JD Vance in. There's still enough people that adore Trump, and they might have some narrative, some crazy thing they're going to roll out to make people think JD Vance can do the job. But I definitely don't doubt that Bill and Hill are going to show up to do their best to take down Trump. But who knows? I mean, like I said, oh, dear God. Now, this Time article just talks quickly about how the FBI has always been political. They're supposed to be neutral, but they're not. So it hasn't been since the beginning. So they're basically saying once he became president, he asked for unswerving loyalty, and the FBI, it goes back to his first presidency. So I don't know. It just talks about how the FBI is very political, and they have an objective, deep state objective, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you mess with them and don't do what they want, they're going to take you out. So I'll pop that in the chat. You guys can have a look at that. But we're going to move into the elites and how they run and how they operate, because all this chaos about the sex trade stuff and the Epstein files is one element. But the other element in how they control us is about money and currency and how it works. And once you hear David Icke talk about this, you'll see how much of an illusion it is, and we'll see the strategy behind it, and why, and who runs the world, and how they run it, and how are these elites taking the wealth? Like, how are they taking it? How are they amassing it? They're going to amass it from us, and then they're going to start amassing it from each other. But how do they do that? It's pretty crazy, and it has to do with fiat currency. Let's check it out. I'll take a little minute break from my voice. Let's listen to David Icke, because he's going to tell you exactly how it rolls out.
David controls the financial system, and how does the financial system work?
It all comes down in the end, in terms of these society controlling.
My name is Alana. I'm 46 years old, and I want to share with you the biggest game changer that allowed me to become this.
Institutions to what I call the global cult, which is a global network of secret societies and semi-secret groups with ultimately, if you go deep enough in the rabbit hole, a mission control, a central organizational center. This explains why countries tend to respond to the same kind of situations in extraordinarily the same way. the thing is, if you're talking about control and the need to control, then you look at society as it's structured, and control is overwhelmingly dictated by money. Who has it and who doesn't? And if you look at a definition of freedom, well, it's choice. The more choices you can make, the freer you are. The fewer choices you can make, the less free you are. And in the way that society is structured today, what dictates choice more than anything than money? Who has it and who doesn't? So I hear people talk about how the billionaires and the billionaire corporations, etc., are all about money. But, well, yes, on one level, they have a mentality that is it has an insatiable greed. But the bottom line of bottom lines is not about accumulation of money. It's accumulation of control via the weapon of money. And when you look at how this cult, in all its different expressions,
I'm just going to pause it right there, because for a metaphor or an analogy for what he's saying. So if say a woman doesn't work and her husband does, and he comes home and they each get some spending money and everything's good and fair, and they have this healthy respect for money. It's like, it works. But say you have a different couple and the woman doesn't work out of the home and he does, and he comes home and he knows he has the money and he's a really tyrannical person, and so he doesn't give the money and he uses it to manipulate that person to do what he wants and be abusive. That's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a system where they're like, hey, look, I want to be fair. I want everyone to feel good. I want my nation to work well. We're talking about people in banks who use the money to manipulate the people and hurt the people so they get their end needs met. That's like the best analogy I could put for that one, if that makes sense to you.
Brought in the money system to what it is today. It's founded on creating money out of nothing called credit. And
this is the fiat system. That's important to understand, that because we don't have a gold standard anymore. We live on a fiat system where they create money out of thin air, and he's going to explain to you how that process is how they actually steal wealth.
Charging interest on it. You go into a bank and you say, borrow £100,000. Well, in theory. Well, the bank doesn't do anything in terms of moving precious metal around or any of this stuff. It puts into your account £100,000 called credit that has never, does not, and will never exist except in theory. And then it says, for doing that, we're going to charge you interest. And if you don't pay back the principal and the interest on credit, then we are going to take your wealth that does exist, your house, your business, your land, whatever.
So you see, they're giving you credit, money that does not exist. They just type it up on a screen somewhere in a computer system, and then they charge you interest on money that doesn't exist. And so when you can't pay back the outrageous usury and the interest, they take your wealth. That's how they get the actual wealth, through this fraudulent system of lending you money that doesn't exist. So they're using money to manipulate and control and abuse, rather than using their power to make sure they have a stable country and people have stable property. You've seen that, like in Libya, what's his name, Gaddafi, he was actually being a good person to his people, making sure they had education, at a certain age they would all have a place to live, making sure they were taken care of, like you would if you loved your people. No, you can't do that. That's why they went after him. Not because he was a villain or they gave a shit about freedom or democracy. They went after him because he wouldn't be on their fiat system, a system which they're trying to collapse right now to do an even more controlling system. And they wouldn't do that because he was taking care of his people and didn't want to pay insane interest and didn't want to bankrupt his country.
And if you look at this creation of money, even in theory, when you go to a bank and you get a loan, you will borrow £100,000 in theory, and they will put £100,000 into your account. But you're not paying back £100,000. You're paying back £100,000 plus interest. The interest is never created, only the principal, even in this theoretical way. And thus, by design, not accident, there is never at any point enough units of exchange, money, in whatever form it takes, in circulation to pay back all the principal on the debt outstanding and all the interest on the debt out.
So this is, it's almost impossible to pay things off because there's not enough money and economy in circulation for you to do that. That's the trick. That's how they make it. They can control it. Like, oh, well, we'll just let less money in circulation. We'll just mess up the economy so they can't pay it off. It's by structure. It's insanely devious.
Standing. So,
and that's one of the tricks they tried during the pandemic. They tried to give people the chance not to pay their mortgage for a year. And that was so when the year was up, they could call the whole amount back. And if the person couldn't pay the whole amount, they could go in and take their property. That was one of the tricks. Don't ever do that one.
Absolutely included in the way it's structured is that people are going to lose their homes. They're going to lose their businesses because there's not enough money in circulation to pay back all the debt and all the interest on the debt. Now, when you have an expansion of the money supply and you have what we call a boom, what that means is, of course, that there's lots of money, theoretical, etc., in circulation. So there's more to spend on things. So companies need to make more things and provide more services because of the demand. And with that expansion, you can hide in the Peter pays Paul method the fact that there's not enough money in circulation to pay back all the interest on the debt and all the principal.
So when that comes, that there's lots of money and there's lots of jobs and lots of wealth, my recommendation to everybody out there is not to buy stuff. Stop ordering from Amazon. I just want you to hear this. Pay off your debts. Don't have debt on your credit card. Pay off your loans. Save your money up. Throw extra payments on your mortgage. Don't buy the shit, because that's how they trap you. They, ooh, new stuff. Give us your money here. Give us your money there. Everywhere. All the shit that they come up with. It's all to get your money. So when you feel like you have abundance of money, a lot of people just keep paying the regular mortgage and buy a whole bunch of other stuff. The smart thing would be to do is to save your money up and then put all these big payments on your mortgage to get it down faster so you're not paying as much interest. Or at those times, save the money so you have a big payment on your house that half the people can't afford. And remember, one of the big things that are coming up, Trump with his 50-year mortgage for people who are like in debt for the rest of their lives, or Peter Thiel, who wants to have little cities where they can shove people in and monitor them to death, and they'll give them some reduced taxes. They'll give them sweet deals to lure them in there, and then it will get crappy, just like every controlled neighborhood like that does. But it's going to be like a corporate neighborhood, corporate freedom cities. Oh, the irony of calling it a freedom city. It's the same thing as a smart city. Both sides are pulling the same thing. They're using different language to manipulate you.
But when, and this is done systematically by that which is behind the banking system, they start withdrawing money from circulation, like in 2008, the credit crunch. They just stopped giving out loans of money that only existed in theory, called credit crunch. People couldn't service their debt. they couldn't pay back their bills. And thus it becomes painfully obvious in a recession, in a downturn, that there's not enough money in circulation to pay back all the interest and all the.
One of the other things you can do, it's what I did when I bought my first house. If things are looking good, don't buy the big expensive house. Buy the house at a good rate that you could afford even if you worked at McDonald's, and then just renovate it up so you have something. Do not buy the most expensive thing that if the interest rate or anything went wrong, you just couldn't afford your way. Buy something that you could afford no matter where you work. That's one thing I did in 2001 before the housing bubble happened. I bought something that was so cheap. It's the smartest thing. If you can find these things and do that, it is the best tactic to do. Do not get locked into these gorgeous mansion houses. It's because they'll fuck with the system and get your money and take your property, and BlackRock will come in and buy it up.
Principal on the debt. And so this is a process that's gone on since this form of banking started, where you expand the economy, and what happens in that time? People take out more loans. They get more confident. They may be.
If you're actually really confident, save your money. Don't take out loans. Live on the minimal. Live on the minimal. Invest in your property. Pay it off, and pay off of your debt. That's like number one. They're trying to lure you and seduce you with stuff and convince you to do otherwise, because they're just going to take it all away, because it's rigged that way. I mean, when I said that Peter Thiel was blaming women and the vote and poor people for the dirty 30s, the Great Depression, it's bullshit. These banker people planned that. That was planned. It had nothing to do with poor people and women voting. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Expand their business because of demand. They maybe buy a bigger house. They maybe have 2 holidays a year instead of 1, and so on. These are the good times.
Don't do it.
But what's happening there from the banking system point of view, that the whole is the fishing line is going out, and then they start taking money out of circulation. So there's not enough, as there was before, to buy the things that generated the boom, that generated the need to loan more money to meet the demand of the boom. And the fishing line then goes back in. And what's happening is in this process all the way through is that there has been a constant exchange through this boom bust cycle of real wealth in exchange for fresh air money called credit. And this is a massive, massive foundation reason why we talk today about the 1%.
There we go. So that was a little financial lesson in how the systems actually ran, as opposed to what they'll tell you with all their numbers and get a HELOC and get a this. You want to get something that you can afford no matter what. And even when you're doing good, you want to live more like you're poor. It's a state of mind because you want to bank your money. Incognito says it's usury. Yeah. But if you want to avoid the usury, you have to not do the keeping up with the Joneses and order all the crap and get all the stuff and have all the fancy this and that. You have to live way below your means, because otherwise these guys will get you. They have all these ways to suck your money out of you, and either which way they win. They win. The house always wins, as they say. These guys are like gangsta. They're gangsta. Yeah, gangster. Oh, they're so gangster. It is absolutely crazy. So that was a little warning about money, and that's how the systems run. To get your and my money from you, that's the elites. And now I know I talked about how the elites are divided, and they always are. But this is what unites them, this whole process here, this sort of usury crazy shit. I don't even have time really to get into the Satanism. That's going to be for a whole other night. One of my biggest reasons for running the show tonight was to really talk about what kind of trouble, what kind of stuff stirring up with Donald Trump. Now, I have a suspicion that somebody is playing a little bit of a, I don't know what you would call it. They're playing, we'll call it chess, since Peter Thiel likes chess so much. They're doing some strategic moves to take people out, to checkmate. And so it might be that right now it looks like they want to take Trump over, because we always think it's just Israel, they want to go into Iran. But America and the CIA, they have interest in being there. And I predict that Peter Thiel, I think the technocrats are really running everything. They're getting into this government. And I believe that they probably eventually want to get rid of Bibi as well. He's going to be a big problem for America. You know, but I think there's stages. It's like trying to get rid of Hitler and then get rid of Stalin kind of thing. I think there's stages. I think they're going to try and get rid of Trump. Kind of really, Peter Thiel would really want to buff up JD Vance or somebody else that he's invested in. And I do believe that they're eventually going to want to get rid of Bibi Netanyahu, and they're going to use war crimes against him in the future because they hold that card in their hand. And they might just say, well, we were just selling weapons to him. Because remember, in World War II, a lot of these people who went on to rule things were actually providing weapons and money to Hitler, to both sides, and they just went on with their merry way. And I think something similar is going to happen here, where they're just going to play some kind of chess move with puppet world rulers that don't really run everything. And Zelensky is going to be gone. He's an actor. He's totally like, they don't get, he can snort the crack, snort his way and die for all they care. They just needed him from 2014 on. This is how you know they're all in it together, because that was, what was that? That was Obama and Biden that kind of maneuvered that one in. And so they don't care if he goes, as long as they are able to position in and get into Russia. And then this side with Bibi, they get into Iran. And then I figure eventually they're like, this don't need them. I mean, the government that's in on Bibi they're so focused on the coming of their Messiah that's what they're seeing. And they're so ethno-state, kind of like a certain Hitler. They're just so focused on that. But I think there's these technocrats and people and back outside of that are like, okay, we'll just let them play this stuff out. Who cares how many people die? Because we'll just charge them with more. We can just get rid of them anytime. We can play a certain card. And that's why I think there's always this inner struggle between elites. And I know in the future it's going to be corporations trying to take each other out, whether they're hacking or AI or robot warriors. They're going to be taking each other out. Incognito says it's usury, which is if you're a Christian and you're really serious about it, usury is a sin. That's why they had hired the Jews to be their accountants in the first place. It's a sin. But you guys participate in it. And I don't care if you're in all these churches, Charlie Kirk, TPUSA, Faith, and you think you're doing the religious stuff. All of these organizations are money laundering, and they're all about money. So if you're supporting them, you're supporting a system that's actually against your own laws. So you can go believe you're going to be raptured or whatever the hell it is you believe, but you're supporting usury, you're supporting money laundering, you're supporting mafia type crime, you're supporting child trafficking. Charlie Kirk was on Tucker Carlson a while before he died. He was calling out these agencies. He wanted to get them under control. Now you know why he's gone. He did that. Then he went against the donors from Israel and didn't want to go to war with Iran. Now you know why Charlie Kirk is gone. And his wife is in with the Romania stuff and all. Now you know why he's gone. This is a really creepy thing, but other people are going to fall. I could just see it. If I'm wrong, well, fine, I'm wrong. But I can't see that they wouldn't, towards the end, want to get rid of these type of leaders that they've created. Just like they got rid of Saddam Hussein once they used him up. So, I don't know. I guess we should just sort of enjoy watching them rip each other apart, and hopefully we don't get scathed. But I'm going to tell you, don't take out these massive loans. Don't go buy way above your means. Live way below your means if you can. If you can move somewhere where it's cheaper, do it, and you can still have the same job. Take the step. We are going to go and look at a little app here. Speaking of war and crazy stuff, I'm going to show you a site. You can check it out. I haven't had tons of time to actually analyze it, but it's called iranmonitor.org. Let me refresh it. There we go. It's called Iran Monitor, and it monitors everything in all these briefings. Latest headlines: U.S. military ready to strike Iran as early as Saturday, but Trump yet to make final decision. Iran, no politics, please. Trump has discussed timeline for Iran strikes. Like, they give you all the updates on it. If you're interested in that, you can go in, and it's quite a valuable database. You can keep up to tabs of what's going on. So they're thinking Saturday they could start some strikes. Iran escalates Strait of Hormuz closure beyond exercises. Medium likelihood, medium impact. They're saying U.S. launching high impact. War rhetoric reached fever pitch. There's this scale that weighs in on how high of a I forgot what it was. It graphs like basically how immediately threatening certain world events are, like COVID, and the graph is like peak high right now. It's like 3 or 4 times as much as COVID. Like, it's peak high crazy with this Iran stuff. It's scary. You've got different news in whatever language they speak in Iran, Persian, I'm not sure, but they give you all the tweets updating, commentary, Trump truth, Khanna and Massey to force House vote on Iran war powers resolution. Khanna and Massey are teaming up again to make Congress go on record before any strikes. Trump has discussed Iran strikes as soon as this weekend. So, Poly Market, will Iran close its airspace this month? Like, it's all here. They've got Jew Iran live TV.
پیش آمده که در آن دوره‌ها از ابراز
You can kind of see what they're thinking beyond Twitter activity, internet connectivity, news volume. It's peak high. It's been peak high since the 16th. It gives you naval activities in the area. Really interesting. It gives you Iranian airspace on the air nav. Will the Iranian regime fall before 2027? It's peaking way up. People are going crazy. So, very interesting site. Lots of good information. I know it's a very guy thing. I think a lot of you guys might like it. I'm not sure who runs it, but it's very well put together with all the stuff about the war in Iran. If you guys are interested, I just wanted to bring it up. But apparently this could happen as soon as Saturday, which I don't think all the boomers love Trump still. Most of it's MAGA because they're retarded. And they're not the ones who are going to go to war. But amongst the youth, he's taken a nosedive to like 24% or lower. Because guess what, boomers, your ass isn't going to be going to war. It's going to be Gen Z and Gen Alpha or whatever they're called. They're going to go to war. Maybe even some millennials. They'll be going to war. So it's really gross when these old people are like, yeah, Trump, war, kill, and they're all terrified of Muslims, and they just want to go bomb Iran, and they're not even going to go to war. Yeah, this gives you the top people on X talking about this. It's really good. It gives you protests, petitions, victims, what's happening, about Iran Monitor, a real-time open-source crisis monitor platform built by the Iranian diaspora to track, document, and amplify events inside Iran. So instead of just listening to the news, you can actually see what's happening in Iran and what they're saying. So just a couple of different perspectives. I know they'll be like, you're a traitor, but I'd rather see it from different angles. If there was an Israeli one, I'd want to see that. And apparently, guys, things aren't going so well for Israel. I know they might want you to think that it is, but they have a high suicide level. IDF soldiers are committing suicide at massively high levels that outweigh any US soldier suicide levels. Like it's crazy. And the stuff that they're saying they've had to do, a lot of the soldiers are just that they're killing. They can't live with what they had to do once they have the realization of what's really going on and they're figuring out some truth. They just can't live with it. So this is what's happening. The clusterfuck is going clusterfucky like crazy. And I guess if something crazy happens on Saturday, I don't know. I'll talk to my husband. Maybe I'll be able to do a quick live stream from my phone and talk about it. But that is it. You've got the Epstein files going crazy. Someone might leak something about Trump talking about war this Saturday. And a lot of people think he's trying to distract with war so people don't look at the Epstein files as well. He's like, hey, let's just go. But then there's like, he has to because BB and Palantir and all those people that given him money are saying, no, we want this war. Rich, greedy, psychopaths, pedophiles that torture and kill children. You know, our favorite people, sarcasm. So that's Iran Monitor. That is iranmonitor.org. iranmonitor.org. All right. We got some more stuff to talk about, I'm sure. Not that one. Oh, and Tucker Carlson apparently was... Let's share this one. Tucker Carlson's quick airport interview with Ambassador Huckabee in Israel draws backlash, but apparently he was also apprehended by Israeli forces or something in question. So I find it weird. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Why is Tucker Carlson talking to Mike Huckabee? I do not trust Mike Huckabee whatsoever. They're saying Carlson arrived Wednesday via private jet and interviewed Huckabee right at the airport, declining an invitation to tour Israel. Oh, that's why they arrested him, because he wouldn't kiss the wall, despite months of public clashes over his claim of Christian persecution there. Huckabee, a Trump appointee and a strong Israel supporter, aimed to counter what he called misinformation, while Israeli Christian leader Saadi Kalou publicly noted Carlson's silence on his unanswered invitation for guided visits. Okay, the guided visits are propaganda visits. It's like when you came for the Olympics in Germany in 33 or whatever year it was. And they cleaned it all up and were like, hey, it looks good here. Come for a tour. What, you know, it's crazy. Critics like Laura Loomer, she's a psychotic bitch who's can't even own a gun because she's got borderline personality disorder and she's been in institutions. If she's even a woman, mocked the brief stay as evasive amid polls showing Israel Christian popularity growing and largely content. Not true. It is not growing. I don't know what ass Laura has her head up, but it is not growing in popularity. And another thing I want to say to you guys, more than half of this internet is fake NPCs. This is something we have to talk about to understand what's going on. Everything's fake. Most of X and Twitter and all the people on there, all the bots going on about, you know, how great Israel is and all this stuff and TikTok, it's all bots. It's all fake. So we got two kind of NPCs coming at us right now. We have the humans who have been turned NPC. They've been brainwashed. They just go with whatever. They have no independent thinking. And then we got actual bots on the internet. Body bots. And they are giving you a fake, you the real person, because your mind matters. They're trying to fill your mind up with what they want. So you go with what these leaders want, and it's all fake. There's not as many people supporting this as you would think. And it's kind of being outed in real time. You know, Palantir, all these people, they want you hooked up into their cloud. They want the brain chip right in your head. Elon Musk is calling for institutions to be, you know, asylums to be great again. And I'm like, why? So you can throw people in there who won't do your brain implant and call them crazy. Like, they want you hooked up to the system. They want you thinking the bots are real so they control your thoughts, so they can control the energy, and they can direct things easier and manifest what they want. These psychos have different objectives. So we got Netanyahu. He wants his Messiah. We got crazy evangelical Christians who don't realize that their Bible is propaganda by the Romans, and then it's further propaganda with the Schofield Bible. They think that the second coming of Christ is coming and they're going to be raptured and zapped up into the fucking sky. And they are all excited about this because they think, oh, it will end with God. You've got Candace over there with the Catholic stuff. Because, the Catholic Church, they ain't ever been infiltrated and done anything wrong. They've never, skewered Gnostics and flayed them alive or anything like that. You've got all these people with their weird agendas, and no one can just shut the fuck up and be happy in life. It is absolutely a clusterfuck, and I don't know what else to say but to just go for a walk and be quiet and fold your towels. I'm going to make a fold your towels t-shirt. But it's really playing out very sane, and it's a weird thing. And I'm going to sum up and end up the show like this, Since we have someone like Peter Thiel, who's at the helm of Palantir, designing all these weapons of death that are meant to murder and slaughter people. They'll call you hateful, they'll call all these crimes violent, but they don't consider mass slaughtering people. That's not murder at all. They'll mental gymnastics their way around how war has to happen and it's ethical because they're not the ones being blown up. But you see him with his Palantir, he wanting to see everybody and see everything. And how does Lord of the Rings end up again? Like anyone who puts the ring on gets possessed by it and he has to throw the ring in the pit. I don't know if there's a lesson in throwing it in Mount Doom to get rid of this thing. I don't know. Do we have to throw our cell phones somewhere? Or I don't know, throw the technology. I don't know what the ring is or what we have to do. But if Peter Thiel is projecting out Lord of the Rings because he's a dorky loser raised by Nazi supremacists when he was young, if he's going all crazy about these books, not seeing the real message, I don't know. Is the end result that it fails, but lots of people die? I don't know. It's a crazy concept, but things don't end well for Sauron in Lord of the Rings. So if he thinks he's Sauron, which I would assume he does, or maybe he's Palantir and there's someone above him that's Sauron, I don't know. But things never end well for these villains in the movie. And I just hope that, the idea is that America does fall and we have to go through some horrible pains just to get rid of these people because they are literally everywhere like a cancer cell. And they are causing humanity a lot of pain all over the world. And so I don't know who comes out on top of this, but there's clearly a war with the West, with Israel, and they're going after Russia, Iran right now. I don't know how China seems to be like, I don't know what's going on there. But it's hard to see because usually the power people are funding everyone. So they win the house, they win no matter what happens. So I don't know where it ends up, but I know I'm certainly going to shake this stuff all off. We'll watch out for Saturday and see what happens. Let's hope that the FBI agents do release the stuff on Trump. But if they're going to release the stuff on Trump, they better release the stuff on everyone. I want to see it all. I don't want to literally see it all, but I want to see it all be released. I want everyone's crimes to come to light. Not just Trump, everyone. Democrat, Republican, flying spaghetti monster, whoever. Will that happen? I could be too optimistic. I could be way too optimistic, guys. But that's the show for today. I hadn't really planned it, but I just wanted to talk about that stuff, that there could be a leak. There could be start releasing stuff on Trump. There's all these hearings happening. There's Iran. Could be start bombing on Saturday. You've got your sources. You can check it out. You don't want to get inundated with it. And at the top is all these crazy tech villains. And in the end, maybe it doesn't end up so good for them. Maybe they rip each other apart. Because as much as we think they're bonded, they're also greedy. And when you've got an idea that there's one power, a few people that want to control everything, they got to take other rich people out too. They got to suck the power out of not just the regular people, but they got to suck everything out of the other rulers that are competition for them as well. And that is what I have to say for today. I really appreciate you guys showing up. Impromptu. We're going to be here on Sunday. Jim Jones, CIA, Satanic Rituals at 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys very much. Don't forget to click that thumbs out on your way out. I really appreciate you guys, and we will see you on Sunday.